Welcome to Intersection Chats. I am Reme Mancera. I am a personal brand story strategist. And today we are going to talk about the connection between personal brand story and Substack and a bit of other topics. But let's start there. Thank you, Michelle, for accepting this invitation. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. But in the future, one day, I would love for us to have this conversation in Spanish. So
Oh.
I have a totally different accent in Spanish, but I've been working on it, and that's our goal for like next year.
Oh, that's amazing. So that's a deadline there to go from that. Nice. Okay, so please start by introducing yourself. So what do you do?
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Michelle Jackson. I am a person who has a couple different hats that I wear, but primarily, I'm focused on building online brands that are stable through collaboration and email list building. So basically, I really want for people to work with others, to connect with others, to have other people um, be a part of their journey of growth, but also double down on email list building, which I find is something that a lot of creators in the creator entrepreneurship space struggle with. And so I wanted to make that a lot more approachable and just as a thing that you do, so that if something happens with a third party platform, your brand and your business will be okay.
So important, especially whenever something crack or is not working well. We all remember, oh yeah, this like we don't have control about that. Okay, so let's start by. I would love to know in your experience, how would you see the connection between personal brand story and Substack specifically?
So, I have been using Substack since 2022. I'm going to say one thing before we get into this, and it might surprise you. In no way am I saying that anyone should have a Substack. So I want to just like kind of asterisk that and make this point. I actually think it's very important for creators to have their own website, their own email list. However, Substack is a really interesting space because it is long form social media. I know that in the beginning they were really leaning into newsletters, but these days it really is long form social media. And what I love about it is that it is the place where people who clearly are long winded like me can have like thoughtful conversations. They can share their art. They can be geeks. They can just do creative work. And there's an audience of millions of people who are down for that. They are not looking for quick quips. They're not looking for, you know, tweets. They're not looking for all that. They're wanting to sit down, to have a cup of coffee, which I have here, to have a chit chat. And it's a very like slow space. Yeah. So that is actually what I really love about Substack is that you can do things in a long form way. I joke that it's really great for like millennial, like elder millennials and Gen X because um, those two generations in particular straddle 2 points of time where like the before the internet and the after. And so being able to like create in both ways is really wonderful. And you can do that on that platform and be engaged with other people who are totally excited about that.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like this space, because of the long form, allows you to express yourself in a more in depth that in
Mhm.
maybe other format are like more. Yeah, you can go and share something impactful or useful, but this you don't have the space to provide the context
Mhm.
that in this kind of long form content you have the capacity to explain more. And that's
Mhm.
why I think it's a great tool. It's like for explaining your own frameworks, for explaining your own concepts, for being clear about certain misconceptions of your industry and what is your position there. I feel like it's a great opportunity to really show what is your unique angle in the thing that you do that maybe is different from someone else. And doing that, using your stories, your personal stories, to reinforce that. And I feel
Mm,
that's a great opportunity because maybe other people can have similar thoughts or ways of doing things, but your personal journey is unique. So the thing that you bring with these personal stories is unique to you. So that will bring more nuances and a better context to understand why you do the thing that you do and
oh
why it's
yeah.
important to you.
I as you were talking, I had this weird thought that can that I've never had before. So this is actually kind of good. I realized in this moment that in many ways Substack is like a living magazine.
Mm,
It functions in the way that a lot of people think Pinterest does, but it doesn't. So Pinterest is a search engine. Really, it's a visual for those of you who love magazines. Pinterest works for you because you see the pictures, you click on a thing, you go exactly to where you want to go. So if you're on Pinterest, you're really excited because it always connects you with what you're searching for. But there's no social component to this. So I don't understand why people always think that Pinterest is a social platform because there's no social anything really to it. With Substack, it kind of bridges both. I don't know why I haven't had this idea before, or realization, because you can share beautiful pictures. You can share all your words, all the words that you need to express a thought. You can add audio. You can share your art. Like it's just a very wordy, verbose, thoughtful space, but it has actually no matter what people say, there is an algorithm in there. So if you are searching under the different areas of interest, you can connect with the people that you're excited to connect with. So to me, it functions like a living magazine. And as a person who still do, I still do, but I just don't buy them anymore because I don't think they exist anymore in the US. But it's so cool. It's like flipping a digital page, and then you can like talk to the person or connect with them in some sort of way, which I think is really cool. So yeah.
mm. Yeah, because it's like it's the digital magazine, but then you have the opportunity to actually have a conversation with the person. So it's like even
Mm.
that extra layer to go further. So yeah, that I love that analogy. And something that I am curious about is how your thoughts on how using Substack and this kind of content in a way to position yourself as a thought
Mm.
leader, as an expert in your field. What are your thoughts? And maybe if you have some example from people that you have worked with or people that you are aware that they have using that platform in that way.
You know, it's it's interesting because it really depends on the type of project that you're building out. I do think that when people are using the written form, it's easy for people to be a lot more vulnerable around what's working, what isn't working. Um, Last year was a difficult year for me. My grandmother passed away, so even now I'm like, oh. So last year I was mourning. I'm still mourning. And there were times when maybe I'd be on a live stream and even talking about it, like I just would cry. And so I think that sometimes in digital spaces, it can be hard to be vulnerable. I think the only other place currently that I see it vulnerability as a possibility is Threads. Even though
Mhm.
Threads is really funny, typically it leans more to humor, but I've seen some moments where people have been vulnerable there. Sorry, let's stutter there. Um, but I think with Substack, the it is not unusual to just just share what you're doing, to geek out about whimsical things that you're excited about, to share like if do you remember being a little kid and having those little like gnomes, those little weird little dolls that people would have? with big hair, and like you could share that and people would be like, "Oh my God, I remember that." So it's just, I think, a really interesting place that attracts people who would do that, who would be open to you sharing what you want to share. I do think though, just like with anything on any platform, you have to be careful to share and not always tell. So you have to kind of balance that 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 area of like, am I trying to sell to people? Am I trying to get them to know who I am? Am I like, what is your goal? And I think that sometimes it's hard because like I have more than one project on Substack. I just don't talk about the other ones because as active I'm not actively working on them because I have websites for these projects too. And sometimes I feel like the stories I want to share might not be well served to be on Substack. Maybe I have it on my podcast. Maybe so I think just being aware of like where your audience is, what they resonate with. This year's weird for me because I'm actually kind of decoupling myself from any third party platform. I might be
Mm.
using it, but I'm not 100% there. And so with Substack, that is really the case where I'm trying to build up a YouTube channel. I'm really growing my newsletter, but I use another tool in order to send out one of my weekly editions. So like one day it's on the platform, the next day it is on my newsletter product that I purchased. So that brings some additional challenges, but it also brings some opportunities because maybe there's a story that I don't want to have on the platform, but I want to have like ownership, 100% ownership over where I share it. So I think that's something also to consider when using these different tools. It's like, um, what's the best place to share the thing? And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. And to kind of think about that too.
Mm. It's kind of thinking about what is the goal and
Hmm.
how, what is the benefits of each of them, maybe
Hmm.
in your ecosystem, right? Because then you have
Hmm.
Substack, and maybe there you are trying to reach out new audience, and as a way with the content that you know can bring more people to your world. And then maybe in your private platform, you are sharing on other type of um, content, maybe more related to your services, or
Hmm.
more. I always say with the storytelling that, for example, when you are sharing something that you feel vulnerable, you decide
Hmm.
the level of detail, and you can do that
Yes,
in the different circles that you have. So maybe in a more public circle, you are sharing the same story, but in a more superficial level. And then when you are in a closer, more intimate circle, you share a bit more because you want
exactly.
to create that safe space so people can feel that they also can be open and share with you. So maybe that's a way to think about this, how this platform can be one of the ecosystem, and then you decide how you want to use it depending on the goal.
Hmm. I would 100% agree with that. Absolutely.
Mhm. I know that apart from talking about Substack, I would love to talk with you about collaboration because I know that this is one of your big topics. And I feel like there as well, when you have clarity on your personal brand story and what are the key factors of your offering, is a great way or a great position to think about, okay, what kind of collaboration I am looking for. I would love to know your general thoughts about the type of collaboration that you would suggest to someone when you start working with them. Like, what is your approach in thinking about the potential collaborations?
So it's funny because I typically, so these days I don't really do one-on-one coaching. I really love group coaching. So if I do coaching, that's like my jam. However, I have a small membership that I'm growing, and um, the primary focus of that membership, besides just accessibility, it's very low priced on purpose, is collaboration and getting in front of other people's audiences. And the
Mm,
way they do that is the way I do that rather is I'm growing a list of all the members in the community. And their email list or their newsletters that they have. And then the people in the community can pitch the other people to see if they're a good
Mhm.
fit to get in front of their newsletter or in front of their community. I think one of the challenges that a lot of people have with list building and just expanding their reach is it just sometimes feels like you're throwing like spaghetti at the wall. It's a very American saying. You're just throwing, it's trying to see what sticks. And sometimes you find yourself in front of audiences that actually aren't the right fit for your project or for your conversation that you'd like to have. And so by building this community of creators who are very like aligned like ethically and just within the morality of like how they approach things, the audiences that they're working with makes it 10 times easier to get in front of aligned audiences. Like you're already in community with them, you're building rapport, you're building trust. And so having access to this membership and this tool, which I call subscribed, which is super. So the tool within the membership is called subscribed.
Okay, now you're
I don't
back.
know what happened. I think the internet on my end dropped, so I am so sorry.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries. You were like frozen for a moment, but okay, we are back.
uh,
So all
uh,
okay.
whatever tool you'll use to splice this. Okay, okay, I feel better now. So I'll count back to three, and then okay. So one or three, two, one. So with the tool, my hope is one that they can meet people in this quiet space. It's chill, it's chill for me to deliver actually. So I part of what made one-on-one coaching really stressful is I'm already living in a stressful moment in time, not to get weird, but it's a little stressful right now. And so I live in a state where life is pretty chill. I want to go hike, I want to go do things. And so the tools that I have built out, my goal is that it's, you know, uh, delivers a lot, but that it's an easy lift for me, right? And moving forward, everything has to be an easy lift for me. And so collaborating where you get to meet people in what feels like a safe space, what should be a safe space, which really is important for me right now, as well as the people who are in the spaces that I'm in as a community member, but also as a host. And then being able to have the time to even figure out, is this person who they say they are? This is also the age of AI. So, like, dealing with weird deep fakes and just weird stuff. So hosting a community where people really can have the time to get to know each other, and it's a low investment financially but high investment energetically is where I'm at. And the list building piece I think is also key to just being able to get in front of audiences that are aligned, but having the creator be able to be like, you know what, right now isn't the right time, but I'm excited to know that you would like to work with me. Maybe we could do something in the fall. Or this is an amazing time to connect with one another, to collaborate with one another. How do you envision that to be? And also, like 85% of the big opportunities that I've had, it's because of the people I know. I don't care what people tell you. It's who you know. It's not always what you know. I've seen some really goofy people be really successful because of who they know. It's not, and so I think that's just something. It's annoying, it's really annoying. And if you're a person who is introverted, or you live like, I am not introverted, but I'm a little more to myself post COVID. I'm not as like open as I used to be. Um, as a lifelong extrovert, I'm saying this. Maybe you live in a small town, and so you can't get in front of the people that you want to get in front of. So being able to connect in communities that are vetted as well as we can, so that we can have the conversations we'd like.
Hey, now you're back.
I
So
haven't had this happen before. This is so annoying.
no
You know
worries.
what? In the future, I will go to
Oh,
I hear you
okay.
though.
You are here.
Okay.
Yeah,
In the future, I'm going to co-working space because this
it's
is
okay. We are
not okay.
live, but it's okay. No worries.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
Yeah. So you were talking about your community and how you
Yeah.
have created this space for collaboration, especially
Yeah.
for people that might not have the opportunities, or
Hmm.
or they live in a space where they don't have the maybe the networking opportunities and so on. So having that space, and I love your approach of making things easier for your
Yeah.
members and also for yourself.
Heck yeah, like, there's just too much going on, and so just being able to, like, check in. I host it on Slack, check in, see what people are doing. There are people who live in my town, in my city, so we do meet in person. If I go to a conference or something like that, we would, obviously meet wherever I'm at. But I love it. Initially, I was a little nervous to do it. You know, anytime you start something new, it feels weird, and I'm a person who actually starts really fast. So I typically will start fast so that I don't get in my head and talk myself out of things. The only downside to that is timing. So, like, I started this at the end of December when no one's doing anything, right? Including myself. So I was like, "Do, do, 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 let's get it done." And so now I'm like having to kind of backtrack a little bit and then like get started again. But I'm glad that I started because it proved that there was interest in this type of community. And so then I can make adjustments as things go on. So
Yeah, I really like that approach because one things that I have learned, and especially thanks to a community that I am part of, because they are encouraging others to like experiment, and
yeah.
having that approach of experimenting, it gets a lot of pressure off because it's like, okay, I am trying, I tweak things and I check the results or check how it's going, and then I can improve things and make changes and adjustments. If I feel like it's something that I am launching officially, will
Mhm.
I will have another mindset. So I really like that approach of, okay, I am experimenting, trying something new, see how it goes, and then iterate and make changes and make it like, or maybe I changed totally because I saw that
Yeah.
that's not my thing. But then it's like you are giving yourself permission to try.
I just, I have been in the creator space for a long time at this point, and it's like there's all these possibilities, and as long as you wake up every day, it's a little morbid, but as long as you wake up, then you have time to figure it out. Um, I think where the pressure can come is if you're 100% in and nothing's happening. So that's where things can get a little stressful. I have definitely been that in that position. Um, I feel like it's important to share with people, if you're doing this with a 9 to 5, that's awesome. Gas prices are high. We're not going to talk about why. I'm just saying, like, it's 100% okay to have a side hustle, a little gig, a little something that allows you to like test things out without pressure. And I wish more people in the creator entrepreneurship space would talk about that. Um, because I feel like there's a lot of people who dive into doing this and they're really ill prepared for the amount of time and energy it takes to kind of find the fit that is right for you. Today I actually sent out a newsletter and it's so annoying because I have realized that I like to monetize in a certain way. It's the way that I dreamt of in the beginning years ago. But I did all these experiments, which aren't bad. It's good that I did that. And oh, guess what? I'm back at the way that I always dreamt of monetizing. It's so annoying. But it's okay because I enjoy what I'm doing. I see myself doing this for at least another 5 years. I if not 10, because I still like what I'm doing. And so that gives me time to one, excuse, work towards the goals and results that I'm working towards, but two, to like kind of like focus and move in the way that I've identified that I clearly enjoy.
Mm,
It is what it is, and I love that this is such a creative space. It's still the Wild West. It's still what we're doing is still so new. I know that for some people it feels like it's like been here forever. No, this is new. This is so wild what we're doing. And so there's a lot of opportunity to change what you're doing, to pivot, to use different types of tools. So I think it's going to be very interesting. Uh-oh.
okay, I can hear you, and you're moving. Can you hear me? Okay, now. Yeah. Okay. We are talking about technology and adjusting, and that's what we need today with this. Okay. Now.
Rima, I am so sad right now.
Yeah, I was just saying that.
I'm like so sad.
No
Why
worries.
is this happening? Ah!
I was just saying that we are talking about adjusting and technology, and that's what. Yeah, this is how it is. We are just adjusting. So yeah, I wanted to point out something because of what you said, and I feel like first of all, expectations is like
Mm,
when you are trying things. I feel that one of the main important parts to me is like setting my expectations correctly because I have clarity on
mm,
what are my goals first, and then understanding what is the thing that I am checking here to see if this
mm,
is working or not. Because sometimes you feel like you need to check numbers according of what others are saying, but maybe
mm,
your goal is different and it's totally okay what is happening. For example, I started these live conversations to talk with others about my topic, to be consistent about being out there talking about my topic. So no matter the numbers that I got, like the vanity numbers, this
yeah.
is helping me to build relationship with my guests, to talk about my topic from different angles and having
Mm,
conversations that otherwise didn't happen. So that part by themselves is already a win. And then I
mm,
get in front of people, I get to have other conversation with people that get to me. All of that is amazing. But how it started is look, okay, I want to be out there talking about my topic, having this conversation. So that's already a win. And
mm,
that's my invitation for people is like have clarity on why you are doing certain things, what are the results that you want to check first to see if that's working. And then you can go to next phase. Okay, let's see what we can do to do this in a better way, get to more people, or whatever it's the
mm.
case that you want to do. I feel that that's something important, and expectations as well, these two things, like your goals and your expectations.
I love that you brought this up because the other part of the expectations, it's like being reasonable about those expectations too. Like if I started doing this year and I'm like, I need to make $1 million by December. I mean, I guess there's a possibility, but the pressure is just that's a lot. So I don't like the phrase being realistic. I don't like that phrase because I want us to be wildly like anything's
Mm.
possible, but it just these have to make sense. And so when you're setting those expectations, like have it make sense. Maybe you're like, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to make 100K this year, and this is how I imagine it happening. That to me makes sense. And then if you way exceed that, boom, there you go. So yeah, I think having um, ideas about what your end goal is, but also just making it make sense. Dream big, be wild, but don't be crazy. Because sometimes that's gonna stress you out unnecessarily too. So
Yeah, and the stress will arrive without us looking
yes.
for it. So, and this I feel like this is connected to one of the articles that I read from you about having a business that is like friendly with nervous system. So I love that approach, and I would love for you to share a bit more about that angle that you share in the article.
So, one of the things that I have come to realize is, or just that I've observed with people in the digital space, is that there's different ways that they're showing up, right? And I don't quite understand why people are showing up in a way that's still very corporate coded. Like, why are you designing your online creative business like your previous or current 9 to 5? It really just does not make sense to me. I think the first, like, past the first year, once you're serious. The first year, you're stressed out, likely, you're trying everything, you're really intense. And then as you get into the flow of things, I think you have a lot more um, power to design the dream that you imagine with whatever it is you're building. So, uh-oh, I'm still here. Wait,
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just froze it. So, for example, if you are like, I hate working, 75 hours a week, that's an exaggeration, but why are you working 75 hours? Why is it that you're just doing your project Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? If that makes sense for you in your life. Why are you working 12-hour days every day? Why aren't you like building treats into your life? Um, I'll give an example. I work hard. I front load my week. Weirdly, it seems like I work a lot on Sundays, but not like in a stressful way. So I tend to do like Sunday through Wednesday are like my deep work days. I tend to work a lot more in the summer. I work a lot in the summer. And so it makes like the fall much easier, but I do a lot of like content creation, just a lot of work when everyone is taking off for summer. That's when I'm working really hard. I will uh, go to the mountains. I live in Colorado, so I'll go to the mountains for work weekends, but not in the weekend, like during the week, for a couple of days, and I just get a lot of deep work done. But I'm looking at like a river and the mountains, and I sit in a hot tub, and I figured out how to like hack the price so it's not expensive. Um, I like to go and meet my friends. A lot of them here are creative entrepreneurs, so they have flexible schedules. So we'll go and do random stuff. There's a lot of fun events. So I put that in the calendar so that is not missed. I spend a lot more time with my mom, even though she would like to spend even more time together. So trying to figure out how to do that, which is hard to do here, honestly, with how work culture can be. So really thinking about, you know, business design and how it matches with uh, the content and products that you're selling. So just really being thoughtful around all of that and making constant adjustments. I don't have kids. If I had kids, I would probably, once I could afford it, if depending on like where you are in your business, I would probably have a mother's helper who's in the house with me. I was a mother's helper in Paris, by the way. It was so
Oh,
fun. My charge was 12. She was great. She was so sweet. I had to like pick her up from school and avoid protests. That was literally my job because the French. So we, so we would, I would go pick her up. Her name was Zoe. We would get snack, a little, you know, little, delicious treat, and we would like avoid the protests. And it was the best side hustle, but we're not going to talk about that. And so if I were a parent, I would have someone come in or my co-parent and be like, here they are. You're in the house. I got to get stuff done. I just feel like we're not deliberate enough about the vision around what we're building. The first year is fine because you're trying everything. But once you're like really serious about it, being thoughtful about how everything is going to be, I think keeps you from resenting what you're building. Also, it's a lot of work. So, just being efficient with your time and being thoughtful around just what you're trying to do. So right now, I have a smaller project that weirdly is very easy to monetize. It's very easy. And this year, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like double down on this. Now, this project is about Colorado. It's my Colorado website, and literally, it's blogging. That's what it is, basically speaking. Has a podcast, but it's blogging. But I don't have schedules for it. I just, when I have the energy, I do the work. I just have to get one thing out a week. And in fact, that's for basically everything nowadays. One thing out a week, that's it. Everything else is sales, relationships, product development. That's it. It's taken a lot for me to get to this point where I'm like, wait a minute, I don't need to show up like a crazy person all the time. I need to be a little more thoughtful about, to your point, collaborations, conversations, content design, how I position my brand. And I'm trying to share that with other people. Like, um, you don't have to be on social media every day. You don't. There's a reason why there are lots of people who are very successful without social media. Social media is new. Businesses have been around for thousands of years without social media, you know?
Mm, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I feel like connecting back to to what you mentioned about the idea of how when we start a business we might bring some I don't know, some ways of doing things from corporate.
Mhm.
And I feel that there is a lot of unlearning to do, especially at the
Mm,
beginning, because you feel like doing things in a certain way because, yeah, that's the
mhm,
way that you do it. It's like, wait a minute,
mhm.
doesn't need to be. You are the one deciding how this business, that is, especially if you are the face of your brand and you are
Yeah.
just a solopreneur or a freelance or as someone by yourself, is like you are the one deciding how this business is going to look like, how
Mhm,
it's going to have your lifestyles in consideration, how you are like having in mind the type of business that you want to have and how that is like connecting to the type of life that you are looking for. And then
mhm.
you decide things and you maybe set what are your non-negotiables and what are things
Exactly.
that you want to have, like have in mind that when you are, I don't know, planning your way of creating content or your way of launching services or offers. It's like, okay, are you doing that in a week that you know that you want to doing certain thing because there is a, I don't know, some of your hobbies has a big festival of the year. So why you don't have that into mind, because you are the one deciding how this is being going to be. And then the idea of how for some people maybe taking the Wednesday off for having
Mhm,
some plan with their family members, that's a win and that's the thing that they enjoy. And for others it's like taking a month off or
mhm,
doing other stuff or having the flexibility of deciding when to work and when doing other stuff, and or maybe doing a lot of trainings because they love getting like courses and things like that. So you are the one deciding how this makes sense for you, and there are not just one way of running a business. So that's something that I always like to make us like as a reminder, because it's something that we sometimes forget even if I have been in business for a while, right? So it's like, yeah, deciding yourself what is the thing that you want to do, how you want to get there, and making your own terms on
Oh, yes.
yes.
Yes. I love that. Making your own terms. I feel like that should be a t-shirt.
Okay. Thank you so much for all the insights. I feel like we can keep talking, but let's keep it
Yes.
here. Um, I would love for you if you have a way to summarize that, especially what we started with the connection of a personal brand story and Substack as a platform for
Mhm.
long form. Um, how would you summarize that connection?
I would say that you have permission to show up in the way that is most authentic to you. If you are a talkative, verbose, use all the words kind of person, there are people who love that. You do not have to show up in a way that is inauthentic to how you show up in the world. And I love that there are platforms and spaces that really encourage that and allow you to get in front of people who are excited about that, right? But don't forget to also have your own platform so that you could do that anyway.
Yeah. Nice
So,
reminder.
yes.
For me, I would say that what I see the connection between those two is like doing a thoughtful positioning. So being really like thoughtful and about your positioning and the your opinions, your approach, what is the concepts that you want to share, and using that platform to do that, using your stories as a way to highlight that. So it's like helping your positioning and that you strategically have thought about. So that's
Yes.
the key. So thank you so much, Michelle. How can people learn more about you, get in touch, learn more about your community, and all the things?
So you can find me at Creators Getting Paid. There's two links I'll share. The first is just the website, creatorsgettingpaid.com. So that is my actual website. Or you could go to creatorsgettingpaid.com/newsletter. And that's where you'll find me interacting with my community and how to get to the actual community. So that's my Substack uh, information.
Nice. I am going to make sure that all the links are in the description so people can easily go there. I invite anyone to share in the comments, like if they have a Substack or not, if they have
Yeah.
considering to doing or not, and then what is like the things that they are having in consideration to deciding or not. And if someone wants to learn more about my approach to personal brand story and my 10 story connector framework, they can go to my website. My link is going to be also in the bio, in the description. And there are specific examples of how to think about what personal stories to use to highlight your value and the benefits of what you offer. So yeah, and that's for now. Thank you so much. Please keep the conversation going in the comments. Thank you, Michelle.